And what's up, everybody? How's it going? A couple of seconds before 7 p.m. Pacific. Hopefully, you're having a great start to your week. I am Beto on base. If this is the first time watching this live stream, welcome. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for tuning in. Basically, here to talk about general market sentiment. Also, talk about a little bit of the base chain. Got some news for you. When it comes to projects on the base chain, a couple of noteworthy things that I want to chat with you about. But essentially, this is just a market talk show, live stream, I should call it. And essentially here just to try to make sense of the market. Again, I'm Bet on Base. Good to see you guys. Thank you for joining. If you're joining, leave me a comment. Let me know you're live. The market seems to be waking up, seems to be doing a little bit better than what's been going on for the last few weeks or months. But I'm going to tell you, and I'm not a Debbie Downer, but I'm going to tell you why this probably is a little bit short-lived. But today, what I want to do is I want to say, aside from saying hello and kind of giving you a little bit of a just a recap of what's going on, I want to cover just what's going on in the general market, some news that's going to impact the markets as well the rest of the week. Also going to talk about Bitcoin doing very well today and Ethereum also rallying today, and really just a lot of these projects, or these two projects at least, or some crypto projects, actually crypto decoupling from the general market. So the crypto market's doing very well today. Hopefully it continues to do that. But on the other side, there's a lot of news that potentially could still, kind of cause some volatility, and I'll talk about that as well. I got one tidbit about SHIB on base that I think you definitely need to be aware of if you're on the base chain, and if you're an investor for SHIB on base, definitely stick around. I'll talk about that in a couple of minutes as well. And then I'll take a look at the charts, just take a look at some random charts for you guys just to see what's going on with the market. But in the general sense of things, I still think just the market is crap. It's just very crappy. I mean, I always say there's always you always got to think about it as opportunities are everywhere, right? And you got to just find those opportunities for yourself. But the general sense of things, the market is still, on a downtrend. We're still kind of choppy. Yeah, the rally today, Bitcoin and Ethereum are doing very well, and other alts as well. Actually, some of the microcaps as well, and some of the base projects are doing very well today. That has to do with ETH doing well in part of it, but also maybe some investors, kind of coming back in for a little bit of fun this week. And I think there was a lot of buzz this past weekend. I don't know from where, but there was just buzz on X and on social media about this being a green week. So hopefully it is a green week, and hopefully you're making money, because that's what we're all here for. And hopefully you're having fun, because in the end, I think that crypto is fun. Obviously, it's fun when it's green. It can be fun when it's red as well. It's just more challenging. A lot of people are still away, right? A lot of people are gone. Some of the buzz that you saw just in previous, not months, but in previous, just the last year, is gone, at least for a huge part of the communities that were out there. But there's still some communities out there that are strong, and those are the projects that I definitely think you should continue to follow moving forward. But today, what I want to do real quick is I want to give you just the big news that I think, where at least it's some news, and really in a market like what we're seeing today, really the news that you get, any news that you get is going to be good news. And I definitely think that we kind of have to pay attention to these stories, because I think those projects that are building right now, I'm having trouble here with my screens, but the projects that are building right now during this time, I think those are the projects that you definitely need to take a look at. And I want to give you a quick, sorry for having that Trump right there, but really what I wanted to get to is that SHIB on base, and there was just earlier today, actually just a couple of hours ago, or an hour and a half ago. Let me see if I can put it up for you guys. This is straight from the TG, and I hope I don't get in trouble or yelled at for just kind of bringing you into the Telegram. Let me see if I can show it to you guys. But this is the Telegram. There you go. I'm gonna put it right there in the middle for you guys. Telegram and read it. This is just an announcement from Paul, the developer, and this is another development in terms of the project for SHIB on Base. And I think this is good news. It says, we, Eli 5A Wizard Partnership, have built an AI agent that will begin to automate professional marketing of Pauline to pet stores, pet boarding, vets, groomers, etc., with an offer to carry our line in return for a percentage of sales. The tech stack keeps getting more and more insane. Huge props to Eli 5A for creating this for us. Do you see the vision? So, in essence, news that, the project is going to have AI support, right? Another AI agent helping with promotion and marketing, aside from all the marketing that Paul's going to be able to launch on its own. But I think it's just good news. Again, maybe not groundbreaking. It might not take the price of the project right now, into the to the moon. But I'm going to show you the chart in a little bit, and it is moving. I think a lot of it has to do with ETH, but definitely something that's going to move the chart, or at least give confidence to investors. This is what I'm talking about when you're looking at projects in the bear market. You got to look at the bear market like an opportunity, like a blessing. When the market is booming, when there's green candles everywhere, when there's so much buzz and so much FOMO and everything's going wild, I think it's a lot harder to find the projects that are worth your time and worth your money. Definitely harder. Why? Because everything's mooning. It's a lot easier to be right in the bull market, right? Past cycles, you could throw money at projects and those projects would moon. They would do very well and you could turn a profit, overnight. Those times are gone, right? And even then, even with times gone like those, you can find projects a lot easier in the bear market. Why? Because the projects that are alive right now, the projects that have communities that are strong right now, the projects that continue to build, and it doesn't matter if they're small or big projects, right? Micro caps or, middle of the road, whatever it is that you're looking for, if those projects are alive, if the community is there, if there's people building, that's a good sign, because that means that when the influx of investors comes back, whether it's the end of this year, 2027, 2028. I was listening to somebody talk about 2028 being like just a huge year. I don't know when that's going to be, but you got to be ready with projects that are alive right now. Because if they're surviving, if they're thriving in this environment, maybe not even thriving, but they just have to be alive. They have to be, working and functional and surviving and still, building. That's the main part, right? Because I think that if you look at those projects, those are the ones that are going to eventually do very well, right? Because they're ready to thrive in the bull market. They're ready to explode in the bull market. If a project has no community, if a project is not, you can look at the volume, you can look at other metrics, but if the project is not alive and there's no movement in it, it's going to take a lot more for that project to ramp up again, even in a bull market, right? So, SHIB on Base, props to Paul, props to the community, props to Eli 5A. They're continuing to build. I appreciate, the continued, momentum forward. I think that's how you can call it. Not a lot of projects are right now. I'm in some projects that are pretty stagnant, right? Because they've already built, and we're just waiting for that influx of people to come back in. But in the end, I think that the projects that are building right now, those are the most important, right? But I just want to give you that tidbit of information right now. One of the things that I was looking at, and just today popped in the news, I think the Iran, going into more of the macros, going into the macro news, definitely keeping an eye on the Iran conflict, whether it's going to be a few more weeks, however long it takes. I have a bad feeling that it might take longer. And like I said, I'm an optimist. I like thinking positive, but these things don't tend to resolve overnight. So I think this might take a little bit longer than what they're expecting. So I mean, that's one thing, right? But I think that kind of can kind of blow over, and the conflict can continue in a way, and then the markets can get better. However, just talk about now Cuba, right? It was Venezuela, Then it was Greenland. That talk kind of faded, and now Iran, and now we're taking a look now at Cuba. And this was in the news. President Trump actually mentioning that he could take Cuba or something like that. And it's just something like, man, how many times or how many things or how many stories are we gonna take on this that are gonna just make the market volatile and make the market suffer. So maybe in the long run it's for the best, but right now I don't see like the light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to the bad big bad macros. And obviously unemployment, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff, and you can go check out other folks that do more deep or in-depth analysis about the market and those things. But just to give you my perspective, I think we're going to start seeing, or we're going to continue to see a little bit more of the choppiness and just uncertainty with things that are going on, especially if we start talking about possibly now a conflict in Cuba, although that I would expect that not to be as wild as what's going on in the Middle East, because there's some crazy images and crazy stuff going on in the Middle East. But that's definitely going to impact the markets. That's definitely going to impact the stock market and the crypto market, that we're interested in. But definitely keeping an eye on that, definitely. So how about we take a look now at Bitcoin just to see kind of how it's doing and how it went today. Definitely saw some improvement, saw some green candles over the last day or so. Actually, it's been going on an upward trend ever since Sunday the 8th. So it's been about a week of green candles. So that looks really good. We're at 75,222 at the time of recording or doing this live stream. So if you're watching later on, that's where it was at this time right now on Monday at 7:11 or 7:12 Pacific time. So Bitcoin's doing a lot better. One of the things, and I mean, it's an uptrend, but what I don't like is the low volume. Not that I don't like it, but I think that's significant to note. I think one of the things that I've learned, and just looking at charts, if you see something pumping and the volume's low, it just means hey, it might not be sustainable, right, in the long run. But because if you go backwards, big pumps that are sustained, over weeks, the volume has been kind of like right here. Let me show you something real quick. This volume right here, right, corresponds to this upward pump back in, what is it, December 24th, actually November of 24. Remember that big pump? Volume was there, and obviously volume can be there as well, because you can see some volume over here that not necessarily was moving the price in the upward direction. But for me, that's something that I look at. But hey, it's good, man. It's better than going downwards, right? It's better than going down. So kind of a little bit of a cup and handle, maybe kind of crooked cup and handle right here. Nothing. I mean, it could be something right here, right? Like a little cup and handle, something like that. But we'll see where it goes. I think that if we go lower, my bottom that I would expect, maybe if we continue to go down, because I think there's still some negative or some catalysts or negative catalysts that are probably going to pull the whole market, and the market's down a little bit more. This is just like my perspective. Obviously, I'm basing it just on my perspective. In my opinion, I think it might still, get pulled down to maybe like 52K. Maybe, maybe I'm crazy, but I think that's still, in the cards, at least for me. Because I don't see this downtrend ending anytime soon. I don't think the economy's there for people to all of a sudden want to invest in crypto, invest in Bitcoin. I think there's a lot of negative things going on in the economy and just the world, and just the chaos that's been going on over the last just few weeks. And that's definitely going to determine whether people are willing to invest in risk on assets, and I think they're not, right? So whether there's opportunities still, yes. There's still opportunities to either go long or short, or just to accumulate. If you're a long-term investor, which is what I am, that's something that you can you determine yourself. But definitely something to think about, whether Bitcoin's going to continue to go up or down. Just continue to accumulate if that's your thing. And one of the things, I recently uploaded a video on Bitcoin. Actually, there's one coming tomorrow. Actually, if if you are interested in kind of the outlook, I'm going to talk about tomorrow's video. So subscribe so you can get it and hit that notification little bell. It's going to be out tomorrow. Basically about, a lot of people are talking about Bitcoin being done, right? And even though it's at 75K, people are thinking or saying that Bitcoin is done and that, blah, blah, blah. And there's so much FUD around Bitcoin. Tomorrow I'll give you my thoughts, but really, essentially what I'm saying is that, hey, Bitcoin is just doing its thing, right? And every time the market is down, every time that there's red in the market and that we're in the bear market, all the fudders come out, just with it, like every other project. All the fudders are right during this time, and then they're just excited because their outlook for the demise of Bitcoin is happening. So whatever it is that's going on, it's going to determine kind of what the loudest voices are out there. Just like when it's green and when the market is green, everybody's going to be talking about Bitcoin going to $1 million, which is a very unlikely for me, at least in the short term. And so Bitcoin is going to continue to do what it does, right? It's just the market goes up and down, and then there's cycles. I definitely now believe, and I was on the boat on the side of things where I thought that the 4-year cycle was done. I think it's still there, but it changed. So we're on for another 4 years, I guess, before we hit another cycle. That's why I thought it was interesting that one of the folks that I communicate with or follow was mentioning that the 2028 might be a big year for crypto. It could be because that would hit the 4-year cycle again, right? But I think that the 4-year cycle did happen. We just didn't have that crazy euphoria or the euphoric blow off top that has happened before with Bitcoin, and then we didn't have an alt season, so that changed. And I think it's all because of the institutions now are part of the puzzle. Say that many times. So part of the puzzle. So definitely something to keep an eye out. But Bitcoin doing very well over the last 7 days. So we're at 75K, like I said. So let's take a look at Ethereum real quick just to see where we are in terms of the chart. Very similar chart to Bitcoin. It also started trending upwards. But look at ETH. ETH has a little bit more volume, has a little bit more body when it comes to volume. $2,350. It's the price right now, around the price. $23.48 to be exact, with 70 cents. It's obviously changing constantly. But Ethereum doing a little bit better. Last week when we did this live, we were at 22,000. So we're up about $350 per ETH over the last 7 days, which is not too bad considering the situation in the market. It's also, forming like a little double bottom, something like that going on. I like the volume on ETH and what's going on with ETH. Went above the 50-day moving average. We'll see if it holds. But definitely needs to break this major trend as well. There's still time for it to break it. Let's see. Yeah, we still a little bit more to break. So maybe a couple of days if it does, and hopefully it breaks out of it. But like I said, I think there's still some negative news that's going to be coming, and not because I'm negative. It's just like the way things have been going. I think the market's still going to be, in a very choppy environment. So that's ETH. ETH is doing pretty good as well for the last couple of days, and I think that definitely reflects very clearly in some of the projects on the base chain and some of the projects that some of you guys might be following. So I'll take a look at some of those projects in a second, and I'm going to show you something really interesting in just a couple of minutes about the base chain and how it's doing. I think that's one of the things that you'd really need to look at if you're an investor and if you are specifically purchasing tokens and projects on the base chain. I think you're going to like some of the information that I can give you in a couple of seconds. But let's take a look at the general market. So that's ETH at $2,345 at the time of this stream. So doing very well. We'll see where that goes. And in terms of the general market, the fear and greed index just jumped crazy over the last week or so. It's at 48, and last week it was, I believe, like at 15 or something like that. So to me, it's really interesting that it jumped that high. Also, altcoin season is at 46 out of 100. So we're moving closer into alt season, which could be something great, right? It could be awesome. If we have alt season right now, it'd be very interesting because I think a lot of the projects, or many of the projects that were alive just 6 months ago, are gone, right? A lot of those communities are gone. A lot of the developers quit. A lot of those projects are weeded out by this recent bear market. So I think if we go full blown alt season, the alt season that we didn't have in Q4, that would be very, very interesting, because I think the projects that are alive right now, like I was saying at the beginning of this stream, would benefit from, this head start, that they're alive, that they're thriving, that they're working, that they're building. And if all that influx of liquidity comes back in, they're likely going to look for, or people are going to look for projects that are functional, at least, right? That they have some sort of pulse in the community, have some sort of pulse in terms of the developer. So I think it's important to keep an eye out for alt season, because if it does happen, and we talked about it in some communities and some groups, we've talked about the possibility of an altcoin season around May or April or May. We're very close to April, so we'll see if it happens. If it doesn't, we just continue to wait, right? Because that's why we're here. We bought in early for projects, and we're waiting for them to grow and for price to inflate. So we'll see what that happens. But feed and greed index, it's high. It's at 50, almost 50%. And then altcoin season is almost as well at 50%. So we'll see where that goes. Now the market cap for crypto, the total market cap went up as well. Let me give you a quick view of that. Let me see if you can see it real quick. Yep, but that's it, and you can see it on top of my head. The total market cap for crypto is at $2.58 trillion. So we went up about 0.3 trillion dollars over the last 7 days. So that is pretty significant. And look, where is that? I think it's obvious, but if you think about it, where is that liquidity coming in from? Right? Think about it. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to think about it. Is it retail? I don't think it's retail, right? I don't think retail is buying a lot right now during this bear market. I think institutions are loading up during this bear market, and that's where that influx of liquidity is coming from, at least over the last week. So maybe that's why we're seeing some green as well, right? Maybe the buying has started. Whether people see like a pump coming, like a relief rally coming for maybe a week or 2 or 3, they're coming in, and the total market cap for crypto has gone up by quite a bit. I know 0.3, you might think it's not, but it's quite a bit, right? So things are moving. So that would be like 300 billion, maybe. Am I right? My math is fuzzy math. Remember fuzzy math? Some of you guys are too young for that. But yeah, that's what's going on with the total crypto market cap, and I think that has definitely something to do. Solana is at $95, so still under $100. I think that's still a deal for Solana, and XRP is at $1.57, so up about 10% in the last 24 hours. So anyway, that's looking good. At least the total market cap is doing all right. Let me show you some insights to the base chain, because I think you are going to find this very, very interesting. And at this point right now, at the time of recording this live stream, the base chain is now number 4 on the list of chains with total value locked. Base is now above Tron significantly. Well, maybe like a little bit, maybe by like 0.2%, and above Bitcoin, that chain, little Bitcoin. Obviously, Ethereum is number 1, Solana number 2, BNB Smart Chain is number 3, and then the Base chain. Base has always been number 5, number 6, oscillating. Finding it out with Tron, with Arbitrum 1, and really nobody else rivals those 3, like Tron, Base, and then Arbitrum. But Base is now jump above, and if you look at the numbers, just in the last 24 hours, there's $1 billion that came in to, or at least in volume, $1 billion in volume on the Base chain, which when I was doing a little bit of research earlier today before the stream, I looked at that and said, wow, that's pretty crazy. that's pretty awesome. And that's kind of what we were talking about just maybe like 2 years ago. And the growth of the base chain and how they were going to onboard a billion people and so on and so forth. Yeah, that might happen, but that's going to take time, right? However, money's coming, it's flowing in. Which projects? I have no idea, because a lot of the projects that I follow are still, relatively, in the same boat. But we'll see. Maybe the AI projects are getting like a bump, and I'll look into this after this stream. But definitely, there's some high inflows, and it'd be interesting to see kind of where this flow is coming from. I'll take a look at Wormhole. I don't want to do it right now because it'll screw me up. But I'll take a look at Wormhole and some of the Artemis and some of the data analytics, or some of the platforms that monitor inflows and outflows and that sort of stuff, and give you like a good outlook or a good perspective as to what's going on. But definitely cool for base chain projects, right? Definitely cool for the base chain and for Coinbase. Base is now fourth on the list of, at least on CoinGecko's top blockchains by total value locked. So doing great. So if you're on the base chain, if you're trading on the base chain, keep it up. If you are building on the base chain, keep it up. This is definitely, everybody's putting their grain of sand in the pile. So it's working. I think base is growing. And look, I can't wait to see base in maybe 8 years to see where it is, because I definitely think the growth is going to continue, especially with the base app. I think it's still, probably the best app out there that has everything in there. Interesting that we kind of leapfrog over Tron, beating Arbitrum and Tron, and now Bitcoin. So maybe there's something funny with Bitcoin going on. That's why it's bottom, because it's usually number 2. I think it might be like a little also glitch because of the volume, but we'll see. At least in terms of total value lock, Bitcoin says it's 3 billion and 122 million. So we'll see, compared to 4 bill from the base chain. So we'll see where that is. So let's talk about now some of the crypto projects and see where they are. Toshi's still on top with $96 million market cap. Toshi and Brett have been doing well over the last over the last 7 days. So some green. Brett's the bigger winner, along with Degen, along with Schema's dog. Wow, that just went up insanely, like 94% over the last 7 days. So Schema's dog is pumping. So that's where some of the liquidity that we're talking about is going, I guess. But anyway, it's Toshi, Brett, Degen, Punky, Bald. Never, fooled around with Bald. I don't know why that one is there if it has $13 million market cap. Wow, that's crazy. Anyway, the Depth Relief Bot, and Dogging Me, Crow at Knife, Coding Dino, Keyboard Cat, Kibo Shib, and then Miggles all the way down. Shib on base around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16 spots. Not a big deal. Then base Pepe's down there as well. So a lot of these projects pumping a little bit. Definitely has to do with the market. But notice how crazy and how fast these projects will pump with a little bit of a momentum from the general market, right? If ETH starts doing well, these projects start doing well. But imagine what happens when true alt season is here, and when the true influx of folks start coming in like they did, in the previous cycle. Not this one that we just wrapped up, but just 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. Remember when that happened? It was just insane. And I think that even in 2024, April of 2024, and then November of 2024, we kind of saw some like pseudo alt seasons, all right, twice, where everything was pumping. There was so much going on. All the spaces were thriving. All the builders were building. Things were just pretty insane, and that was fun, right? Right now it's complete opposite. Like, a lot of those folks are gone. A lot of those people are not investing and just holding to their to their funds and not really injecting that into projects. So definitely interesting to see kind of what's going on. But I guess what I'm getting at is that if we get that alt season, if we get the craziness of inflows into altcoins, into microcaps, that's going to be a lot of fun, because they're going to move. These projects are going to definitely move. But again, I still, to be honest, I don't see that happening in the next few months, and maybe it's just a hunch and it's just like a gut instinct that I have, or just from the feeling I get externally. Unless we start getting pumped, interest rates go down, all that stuff needs to happen fast. And the way, from what I've been hearing about the economy and things, how things are going, oil going up, usually what I'm hearing is like after oil goes up, then comes recession. So maybe we need to wait for that recession to happen so that the money printer really gets ramped up. So anyway, that's just a little bit of my 2 cents in philosophy there. From what's going on, but definitely interested in what's going on in the general sense of things. A couple more charts for you. That's the base chain projects chart, and let me show you real quick a couple of projects. I'm going to take a look at the SHIB on base project, and then I'll look at the Eli 5A since we had news from those two projects. Good day for SHIB on base. Good couple of days for SHIB on base. Let me zoom in. It's still respecting that trend. This is a very healthy chart for SHIB. Let me do this right here. It's kind of like an ascending, chart. It's looking good. We had the all-time high back in, when was it? January this year. So this was this year, man. It feels like forever. It's been forever since we saw some huge pumps. That's the all-time high at $8.5 million, around that. So we're waiting for that, right? So it's been trading in this channel, kind of like a little bit of a huge channel, right? So that's kind of like the bottom. Let me show you the bottom. I'm gonna do like a little bit of a little bit of charting here for you real quick. So this has kind of been the channel that it's been trading, the channel. So we'll see where it goes from here, but definitely good news. And we see the green candle right here. The green candles that are a result of the recent news, and also because the market's doing a little bit better the last couple of days. But nice little pump. The volume is at $22,000, so very healthy for the type of market that we're in right now. Obviously, it's nothing. We're at $3 million market cap per SHIB. It's always good. It's always nice to see price moving in the right direction, and it looks like we might be getting ready to break this trend line. Let me see. I'm going to get crazy with my charts here, and so we got a little bit to go before we break this trend. I'm just going from the top of the candles. Let's see. We got a little bit to go before we break this. The downward trend, I think it can happen soon. But, we still got time to go. Like I said, I think, if the market turns on, at least for a few weeks, we can see some good stuff, but I don't see that happening for a long while. So SHIB on base doing very good. Like I said, if you're just joining the stream, really good news. There's still the project's still building. There's news that there's now the project's going to be using AI to market and to just do a bunch of work, which is great. That's, by the way, that's something I really want to learn. Kind of to set up AI agents. Already got like a little laptop that I'm going to use for that. Just got to find time to do that. Who doesn't want a personal assistant, right? But anyway, that's kind of what's going on with SHIB on base. Again, it's doing its thing, and hopefully, not hopefully, but I think that's definitely gonna take time to develop. And I think all projects, I think one of the things that most investors lack is patience, right? And I lack patience myself, but I've had to learn about patience, and I think the market really has taught me about patience and just being able to wait. If you're convinced, and if you've done your due diligence, and if you understand where a project is and where it's going, you also got to understand that it's going to take time to develop, take time. Rome, they say, Rome was not built in a day, right? Rome was not definitely built in a day. And these projects were not built in a day as well, right? We're going on a year now, or almost close to a year, with SHIB on base. And the amount of work that's been put in, and the amount of things that have been built, and the app and everything that's been done, it's pretty impressive. And definitely kudos to the dev, Paul, and then the community as well that has been working hard on just being there and being solid and being a solid community and building this project up from the ground up as well, this community takeover. So props to the project. Let me take a look at real quick, and we're trending #1, by the way, on Dex Screener. So you can check that out and check out your chart. So 3 mil, not too shabby on this market. Let me do Eli 5A for you guys. Oh, that's not it. Let me do Eli 5A, see how it's doing. It's at $211 million market cap. I also like this chart as well for Eli 5A. This is the weekly chart. Let me do the daily chart. It's going to be very similar. Looks like we've bottomed out for Eli 5A. But it's also, look at the chart. It's a chart with growth, right? You want to look at these charts and look, how they're growing, right? This is a slow ascent because there's a lot of ups and downs. But look at how, just if you look at it, step back, look at a chart, and what does it tell you? It's growing, right? It's not a dump. It's not a pump and dump. And I'm going to show you, not to pick on Brett, because it probably had a good couple of days, but I'm going to show you Brett and just kind of how it looks, right? A project that peaked already. Actually, I'll show you Bitcoin on base as well, but I'll tell you why that one definitely still worth taking a look at. But look at this chart, right? It looks good. I mean, I think it's growth. And once Eli 5A starts getting more eyeballs and the SHIB on base, as SHIB on base goes, Eli 5A is going to go, I think, at least for the foreseeable future. And if we look at closer, kind of where it's going, it's also bounced. So looks like it's gaining some momentum, right? What I like to see from Eli 5A is do something like, let me see if I can do multiple arrows and do something cool. So maybe do something like this. It'll probably come back down. Maybe do something like this. And then do that. And then, start heading up again. Kind of do something like that. Eli 5A. And this obviously looking at a very short, the daily, actually it's not the daily chart, so it's the daily chart. So I would expect maybe something like that to happen. Maybe we're, do like a triple bottom right there and then start heading up. I think definitely that could happen, especially if the market starts turning around and we start doing a lot better. So Eli 5A doing all right. Let's take a look at Bitcoin on base, one of my faves. And again, this is one of those charts that looks kind of scary if you think about it, because you would say, hey, was this a pump and dump? Bitcoin on base is far from that. If you've done your research, you'll find out. But this is a chart that I would definitely, if I was an investor, I would take a look at, because just look at the scarcity of this project. Look at the mining initiative that it has behind it. It's at $1.6 million right now, and obviously it's had better days. But when you think about it, we're at the bottom right now. Like, there's no more, unless somebody sells, and I doubt that anybody's going to sell. Well, I shouldn't say that. And but I don't think people are gonna be selling or dropping their bags for SHIB on base, for Bitcoin on base. That community is quiet right now, but definitely the core holders are there. A lot of folks are just away from crypto at this time. It's hard to be in crypto when there's not much going on, but that's kind of what's going on. But anyway, the upward potential for something like SHIB on base, for Bitcoin on base, and other projects alike that have a community, that have a utility, that have something going for it in terms of the project, it's there, right? It only takes a little bit to get things going, kind of like that, and then eventually you can have some huge candles as well, and then start challenging the all-time highs again. Remember, Bitcoin on base went all the way to 31 mil, and then eventually went back to 15, 16 mil, and more recently it peaked at 8 mil. And so it's been kind of consolidating. It's been, distribution is a lot better. Take a look at this, but that's the chart that we have for Bitcoin on base, and it's very similar to some. Let me show you. I want to show you. Oh, Virtuals is doing very well. It's trending in second spot. So Virtuals is at 537 mil. So pretty cool. Bitcoin on base, Bitcoin on Virtuals is on that. But let me take a look at. I'm going to take a look at Brett real quick. I'm going to take a look at Brett real quick. Where is Brett? Let me take a look at Brett. Just because. Let's see, Brett on base. Brett on base. So look at that huge pump that we had. So that's where a lot of the liquidity is going. Look at these huge candles, man. That's insane. That's what can happen. What up, John? Good to see you, John. Christine, good to see you guys. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you guys as always. But yeah, huge candles for Brett. You know, that's what's going on. Let me look at that's a daily chart. So 2 big candles in a row. Let me do the weekly just so we can zoom out. You can take a look at. So yeah, huge candles on the weekly for Brett. Let's see where it goes, but look at where it was, right? Look at, like, this is the, geez, all-time high was 2. Wait, this is not Brett. This is not the actual Brett. What is this? Oh, this is Brett on Sol. My bad, guys. Let me give you Brett on the base chain. So that's what we're looking at. Brett. That's ridiculous. So Brett on the base chain. Where are you, Brett, on the base chain? How many millions? 81. This is it. All right. So my bad. We're looking at something different. We're looking at Brett on. No wonder that chart looked weird. This is Brett. Those candles were pretty insane. This is Brett on base. This is the actual Brett. So yeah. Anyway, a lot that looks. This doesn't look as great as it was. But anyway, the price is at, what is it? 0.008, so $81 million market cap. But look at how it's just gone down insanely. Look, and I don't hold Brett. I used to hold Brett, but if you're holding Brett, you know, more power to you. But look, what's the utility? What's the allure for buying Brett? Maybe just because it's the old school, one of the old school base memes. That could be it. But so yeah, maybe we'll break it. You know, maybe we'll break that trend in a little bit, but that's what's been going on with Brett. So anyway, that's a challenging chart for me, but it could definitely go up, you know, but is it going to go up to 2 bill again? Actually, what was the high? 895 mil? I don't think, I mean, that's pretty difficult, right? And this is 25. Anyway, I thought the all-time high was higher, but anyway, that's what's going on. That's breath for you. Let me do one more chart for you guys, then I'll start wrapping up. I want to do, let's do blue. Let's do blue real quick. Oh, it's not there. I don't know why. Maybe I got the wrong one. Let's do Bitcoin on virtuals real quick. Again, another chart that it's bottoming out. Take a look at this. And I think it's just a lot of that. We're seeing a lot of that. Obviously, look at that touch point right there, and then another touch point. Let me bring it up for you guys. Why is it not moving? Anyway, I'm trying to move this for you guys. There we go. It's not moving. Something's locked. But anyway, that's your chart right there. That's Bitcoin on virtuals as well. But virtuals is doing very good. Let me take a look at virtuals again. I think that's an interesting, very interesting ecosystem. If you're not familiar with the virtuals protocol, definitely check it out. It's at 82 cents right now, getting close to the dollar again. All-time high for Bitcoin for virtuals was 1.2. Let's see real quick. I think it was 1.69 bill, 1.7 bill. So still ways to go before we hit anything like that. So got to recover before we do anything. The whole economy, the whole world needs to get right before we see anything crazy. At least I think, because that definitely reflects on the markets. So hopefully we'll get there. But anyway, that's it for today, guys. Just wanted to say hello again and thank you for joining the stream. Definitely excited for what's going on, not only in this channel, but just in the general market with some of the projects. Definitely thank you for being here. Again, I am Beto on Base, and this is a channel just essentially to make sense of the market. I post videos about just crypto psychology, disciplined investing. That's something that I'm starting to focus on. And I'm creating some videos for you guys for new investors and for relatively new investors. If you're a very experienced investor, still hang out, man, because I talk about everything. But stay tuned. Hit that notification bell because I have a couple of videos that I think you'll dig. The first video that's coming is tomorrow on Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific. Stay tuned for that. It's gonna, essentially talk about Bitcoin and where I see Bitcoin going. And as you know, where Bitcoin goes, the rest of the market goes in terms of crypto. The next video after that is gonna I'm working on, and I mentioned it on X. Also, feel free to follow on X. I'm going to talk about how to do your crypto taxes with AI. I did it myself. It took 10 minutes. It's taken me longer to put the video together and to edit and to just do all the work that I need to do so that you can check it out. But it's going to be posted within the next 5 days, hopefully probably on Saturday, so you can have the weekend to check it out. But I did my taxes, my crypto taxes with AI. I essentially just asked it what it needed and just went from there. But I simplified the process and I put it in a video for you that I'll be posting very soon. So if you haven't done your taxes or don't get CoinLedger yet, I shouldn't give you advice. This is not a financial advice or any tax advice. I'm not a CPA or anything like that. But wait till you see that video because you might get options. I heard of CoinLedger first to do your taxes for crypto. I was gonna get that, but then I started thinking, hey, maybe AI can do it. And what up, Hollywood Editing Mentor? Good to see you, brother. What is up? That's go follow that channel if you want to learn about editing and the industry and all that. Not just editing, but just the whole industry. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, so check out that video. It's coming soon. Essentially, going to give you a cool breakdown as to how to do it. But one of the things that I've learned over the last just couple of days of doing my taxes in crypto, because it's the first time I'm really doing it myself, is that it's really important to have your wallets organized. And I'll talk about that in that video. If you have your wallets organized, it's a lot easier for you and it's a lot easier for AI to really do the breakdown and to really analyze your wins, your losses, and then your crypto taxes that you need to pay, or if you need to pay or if you not need to pay, right? So anyway, be sure to keep an eye out for that video as well. All right, guys, so that's it for tonight. Hopefully you had a good one. Hopefully you're having a great start to the week. And hopefully you've enjoyed this stream. I'll definitely be out on X. Let me know your comments in the comment section if you want me to cover anything for next week. Or if you have any questions, comments, I definitely welcome them. I'll talk to you soon, guys. See you later.